Everybody, Roman Kelly here with my co-host Trevor Kelsey for the Real Spiel Podcast live show, coming to you live from a cold, chilly night in Louisville, Kentucky. Trevor, we've got a lot to discuss. NFL playoffs, college football championship on as we speak, and then of course Louisville Cardinals 8-game win streak. We're hot. The cards are hot. The mics are hot. A lot to discuss. How are you doing though? How have you been since the last time we've spoken? Tell me something good.
I'm glad. Tell me something good. Oh, that you want me. Yeah. You had to do that to me. I'm glad everything is hot because you're right. It is not only cold outside. It's cold in my room right now. For those that don't know, in the Kelsey Manor, the man cave was once a garage in the 1950s, converted into a den, and has no working air or heat like the rest of the house. So I've got one space heater in this large what once was a two-car garage room that is the wall of fame of the Eagles behind me, and kind of where I do my thing. But I got one little heater on me right next to me, so I'm a little chilly. But you know what? I got God gave me plenty of warmth around me to keep me warm. So I'm staying warm, I'm staying hot, just like you said. Everything else is going on so much. Since we last talked, Louisville played Virginia in a game that we were feeling 100% confident about. The Eagles are about to, as confident as I am going into the Eagles and Washington game against the Washington, as I call them, the cock knockers. And then you have, right now, Ohio State just basically P. Diddying all over Notre Dame. This is what we kind of thought. I kind of thought what Penn State would do, but they didn't have the cojones. Ohio State clearly does. We knew they were a better team. The only question was, will Howard choke it away? He's obviously not going to do that today, and Notre Dame is getting the shit handed to him. Last time Notre Dame got beat this bad, I think, was the last time they were, in the national championship game?
Looks bad for Notre Dame right now, not looking bright, 31-7. Not unexpected from a lot of people's opinion either. A lot of people felt like Notre Dame really didn't stand a chance against a complete Ohio State team like this with a Riley Leonard quarterback who can't really throw downfield and a defense that does have some injuries right now, but is a good defensive line and secondary normally. But just I think the injuries are kind of a couple key guys right now. So it's
kind of funny turn of events here. Usually, right now Notre Dame's making like $12 million to get fucked, and usually them having to pay $12 million when they do the fucking.
Yeah, it's funny. I was hoping. I was like, once it really came down to it, I was kind of hoping, it'd be really silly and funny as a neutral fan for the team not in a conference to win the national championship in year one of the college football playoff. But Ohio State laying it down, putting it down on them right now. I don't know if you saw the celebration from Jamison Williams yesterday, but on the ground.
He's part of Ohio State. He started at Alabama and went to Ohio State, or vice versa. I can't remember which one it was.
That's what is being done to the Notre Dame Fighting Irish right now. So, congrats to Ohio State. It's looking like they're going to go on for what is at the moment a very comfortable victory. I don't see Ohio State's offense being able to generate enough to come back. Being down 31-7. Oh yeah, Notre Dame. Sorry.
No. They. I don't know if you got a chance to watch. I know you were doing it on the radio shows, but they scored the first drive, and it was one of those guys where they just. It was inching their way, pulling everything out of their butt. Yeah. It was 15, 18 points for 7.
I saw Twitter during the first drive. And I also saw the group chat, my buddy's group chat, where we're amped up about how that first drive went for whatever reason. I think people should know that, that's just something that could happen, and that doesn't mean that's what's going to be said for the rest of the football game. But yeah, I didn't even want to watch this. I only cut it on because, at the end of the day, I shouldn't be not watching it due to how important it is. I didn't care, Trevor. I don't care about the outcome of this game. So, to the extent where I couldn't care less about the outcome of this game, why even watch it? But I've got it on now. I'm watching it. I'm on with you. This was probably the thing I didn't really care to talk about. I was going to maybe get Abelson Bartholomew. He does the content side for Real Spiel Podcast on TikTok, purely college football based, and also
I thought TikTok got canceled.
It's back. TikTok's back. All right, back already. It was back even before today. It was back last night. So
Billy Martin and the Yankees in 1980s or something.
something like that. That's what's going on here. But
you want
Trevor,
that's funny, Trevor.
Before we get into the Louisville Cardinals and their 8-game win streak and what that means and what we've watched and what that means going forward, I want to talk to you about these NFL playoffs.
Sure.
Your Philadelphia Eagles,
looking good,
28-22. They pushed on the spread. If you bet the -6, you pushed. I always see those kind of things. You take the five and a half. If you want the -6, take the -5.5 because I don't know. I just think that that's a weird number. It's not 6.5. It's not 7 even. So why not even prevent the push altogether? But they get the victory. Saquon Barkley, man. Shout out to Saquon Barkley. He's at this point my second favorite running back in the league behind Alvin Kamara. He's one of a kind. He's one of the hardest to bring down. The speed and power combo is really like Derek. Like I'm talking about the quickness, elusiveness combined with the power. It's not even. There's not even really someone you can relate him to that we've really seen. I'm sure there's guys who weren't as big of names that you could relate him to that I don't know about in past history, but out of big name kind of guys, he really seems to be one of a kind. He's like LT and Adrian Peterson combined or something. I don't even know. That's what he looks like sometimes to me. But what do you think, Trevor? What do you think of your Eagles? What do you think of their chances? What do you think of who your matchup is based on the other side of the division there?
What's funny, the age, you want to know what a great example of the age difference is when you said LT, my mind immediately went to Lawrence Taylor. When I hear LT, that's what I'm saying. And it clicked. I mean, it took 2 seconds to click, but he's talking about Daniel Tomlinson, obviously. But because when he said it, I was like, oh, God, I hope he doesn't have LT's habits off. I mean, that would not be good. I don't see that in Saquon. Excuse me. No, I loved it. I loved it when they signed Saquon as an Eagles fan, obviously diehard. There was no better perfect fit last year. The problem with this team, a lot of it to do with the losing streak they had going into the playoffs and getting beaten by Tampa, who just seemed to also have their number, was the fact that they just didn't have a running game they could trust behind what was still a great offensive line. And you're seeing how great offensive line is this year. I mean, Miles Sanders sucks. There's a reason why he was the backup to Saquon in college. And DeAndre Swift, who I was a big fan of at the time and was hoping to be good, we've seen now that he couldn't produce behind Detroit's offensive line. He couldn't produce behind Eagles' offensive line. But for some reason, the Bears thought he produced behind their offensive line. Shows you why the Bears suck. And so does he.
Things may change today for the Bears. I don't
know about how I decided I'd be for that hire, but nonetheless. But yeah, I'm going this game. I took the Rams at 6.5, so I covered. I guess is when I bet them, I got them at the right time. I thought it'd be a close game. Obviously, the Rams come back and win that game, it's going to be interesting to see if I keep my Jake Elliott autograph picture up. So it's down the wall right next to my David Akers one. But because that's Jake Akers to a key. If you were watching this game in a vacuum and not knowing Philly and knowing what his career's been, there's no kicker that is probably more clutch when it comes to kicking field goals from any range in any condition. Yet there's no kicker who will just miss random extra points more than Jake Elliott. He does it constantly. He's been doing it for years. And you can't really hate him because he misses 2 extra points, but then he goes off and kicks a 65-yarder
to win the game. Yeah.
So, it's kind of, you kind of got to take your crookeds with the straights, as the movie Fences once told us. So I'm very confident going in this game against Washington. I know that they beat Philly last time they played them 36-33. It was a game that Philly shouldn't have lost. It was a game Jalen Hurts played 1 possession, 3 downs. Got injured.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that was that game.
Kenny Pickett comes in, and Philly was dominating. Philly was actually up that game 21-0. Maybe it was 21-7, I think. But regardless, they were actually in control and kind of got lackadaisical. Washington came back, scored a late touchdown. Very similar to Philly's one of their other 3 losses this year, and that was Atlanta, where they had that game in control and kind of got lackadaisical at the end and let Atlanta come back and win it. Almost did the same thing against the Rams you saw yesterday. But thankfully, I said it on Twitter, very eerily similar to in 2017, that Eagles Super Bowl run where they played Atlanta in the divisional, a very good Atlanta team. And Atlanta, it was a sloppy game. There was no snow, but it was very sloppy. And Atlanta had a chance to win the game. And Julio Jones kind of alligator armed it a little overthrown, but alligator armed it in the end zone. This one, Puka didn't have really a chance to get it. It was just an overthrow because of the pressure, but very almost the same spot in Lincoln Financial Field that same play against Atlanta happened. That one happened last night. So in that game, they went on and just dominated Minnesota in the conference championship game. Would have been the Saints had not been for Marcus Lattimore not being able to make a tackle on Stephon Diggs. And I'm feeling good. I'm feeling real good about it. Part of me, I was talking to Rutherford about this a little bit last night. Like, part of me, I was having such a hard time watching the Buffalo game because I want to root for Lamar as a little fan. I love Lamar, but I really hate Baltimore. I've hated Baltimore since they left Cleveland. I've just never been a fan of theirs. I like Justin Tucker. I love John Harbaugh, but I just don't like the Baltimore as a team. But I've overcome that with my love of Lamar. But I also don't want to play Lamar. I didn't want to play Lamar in the Super Bowl. And I'm that confident that Philly will be in the Super Bowl in New Orleans, your own background.
Yep.
And I right now, I kind of want to. I think you don't want to see it, but I want a Chiefs rematch. I want a chance to get revenge on Papa. I love Dad to death. Until Attorney Sue is proved otherwise. Andy Reid is my father, and I will. I want revenge though. I want to get back at what as long as Carl Shepard isn't refereeing this game, I feel we have a shot.
What do you? So talk to me more. I want to get into the other side of the bracket there. Lamar goes down, fumble, interception. Mark Andrews fumble, drop pass in the end zone on the 2-point conversion.
Okay.
Do you think Lamar is going to make it to a Super Bowl at this point?
I mean, I saw a great stat where everybody wants to hate, and Lamar's in season 7, and he's got a 3-5 record in the playoffs, which is in the 7th season of another great quarterback's career named Peyton Manning. He was 3-5 at that point, and and didn't.
In the next year, they went 0-1. The same thing.
Yeah,
they both went 0-1 this year. Just like so, they're both going. And in Peyton Manning's his 9th year.
Yeah,
he goes 4-0 in the playoffs and wins the Super Bowl. So that would be Lamar Jackson's, or was it 7 and an 8?
Manning won the Super Bowl his 9th year and then lost in his 11th year.
Yeah,
with the Colts.
If Lamar stays on that trajectory, I would love that. I mean, that would be insane for him to line up in the same exact time frames of his career as that Peyton Manning did in terms of winning his first one and the record leading up to it. But it's just tough.
Here's the thing, and I didn't think this was a secret. I thought this was kind of well known, but apparently it's not in a world of age where information is out there and just buttloads. But apparently this has been kept a secret from everybody in the world. I'm gonna let you in. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Fucking hard to win a Super Bowl, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, and the problem is that the success that you've seen handed off kind of like a baton in this last 25 years from Brady to Mahomes, it's made people kind of get that idea that it's just easy to do.
Yeah, it's
not. It's not easy to do.
You have to have a good coach. You have to have an elite defense. You have to have stars on the offensive side, and you can't turn the ball over. And you have to have a good kicker. Like, there's so many different levels to winning a Super Bowl that not only that, things have to just align. You can't have injuries. You have to you have to have a little bit of luck too. Like, there's a lot that goes into it.
It's bad luck for Lamar too, a little bit. And listen, I like Jalen Hurts a little bit to a degree, but I think he's more of a system part with what he's got around him. But the AFC is just not. I mean, Lamar, you take Baltimore and move them to the NFC. I mean, the exact same team, flip them with somebody else. I don't care who you want to pick.
He's going to Super Bowls. Yeah,
Super Bowl, but their odds are a lot better because you don't have to go through Mahomes. You go through Josh Allen.
I'm not saying he would have won one, but he would have probably made one by now.
I mean, they've got a tougher road in the AFC with someone with Joe Burrow, who wasn't even there this year, but he's normally going to be there and will be there again probably, whether they sign T. Higgins or not, because they'll probably re-sign Chase. I mean, it's not the AFC has the better quarterbacks, and in the teams. I mean, they may not have the best team per se, and they're the best team, because Philly's going to win Super Bowl, and they're an NFC, but they have the best group around him, and it's just a hard thing to do. And I know he's been the only one AFC title game and lost in 3 or 4 divisionals, some wild cards. I mean, it's just look at the teams they've lost to. With the exception of the time they were getting beat by Tennessee, which there's kind of no excuse for that because those Tennessee teams suck. That they were a product of just a shitty AFC South. I mean, other than that, they've had some bad draws. It's just tough to do, man. There's a lot of quarterbacks that have not won a Super Bowl that were great is a lot longer than the ones that have.
Or only one, or only two, or you know what I mean? Like, you're 100% right. You're 100% right there. Trevor.
Can I get something off my chest real quick?
Of course, always. Give it to me.
It bugs me, and no one's going to be watching this, and no one cares anybody but me. But there's a commercial that runs because we're talking about quarterbacks now. This just made me click in my head.
Which one is it?
The commercial runs on ESPN called "The Know-It-All." Okay. You've seen it, right? The dorky kid with glasses looks like the Rushmore movie.
I don't know.
All right, he's in a bus stop. He's like, "I'm the know-it-all," and these guys around him are like, you got to have offense wins championships. He's like, no, 16 of the last 30-something defenses have won. And this guy walks up to him and goes, well, you got to have a first-round quarterback. And he just dismisses him. So it looks at him like he's a fool and goes, you ever hear of 7th-round pick Bart Starr, the Spunky McMahon? You ever hear of Kurt Warner? And it pisses me off to no level because guess what? You have 3 quarterbacks. You give an example, and you use one of them who is the 5th pick in the first fucking round. Can you not do some research commercials, ESPN? Are you that fucking stupid? I mean, seriously.
That's got you been out of shape?
I don't know what you could – here's an – I'll top of my head. I don't know. Non-first-round quarterback that won a Super Bowl, we use an example. We're only using 3. Here's why. Tom Brady? How about that one? I mean, don't get me wrong. Of the 50-something quarterbacks that won Super Bowls, I mean, like almost all are first-round picks. I think like 30 of them have won the first-round picks. Very few don't. The numbers are more lean towards it. But I mean, you can name a few: Nick Foles, Russell Wilson. I mean, there are a few out there. I mean, love of God, Roger Staubach wasn't a first round pick. Joe Montana, he won 3. You named Jim McMahon, who was the 5th pick in the freaking draft. I mean, Lord.
Third round quarterbacks have produced a combined 14 Super Bowl starts and 7 victories. Montana 4.
Name them. I want to see if I name them. You got Montana and Russell Wilson were 3rd rounders.
Yep.
How many do I need to name?
2 more.
3rd rounders, that'd be Nick Foles.
Yep.
And
this next one's off. It's not. You know it, but it's not.
I'm gonna be pissed. Tell me.
First name starts with a J.
Oh, Jeff Hostetler.
Yes.
He filled in for a first-round pick in 1985 Super Bowl winner. So it's him.
Second-round quarterbacks have made 9 starts with 3 wins. Do you know those 3 wins?
Second rounders would be Drew Brees.
Yes, sir.
Second rounder would be Stabler, Ken Stabler.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Kenny the Snake Stabler. Plunkett won their other Super Bowl for him. And Joe Theismann.
Brett Favre.
That's right, Favre. Theismann. I guess Theismann was later than 3rd round. Okay.
Yeah, it's only showing me those 2. Hold on,
I think right. It might be right. Raiders' other Super Bowl was Plunkett, and he was a first-round pick. I mean, here's Louisville fans. If you're out there,
McNabb went 2nd overall. I didn't know that.
Hey, Louisville fans, pissed about this also. Guess who else won a Super Bowl that was not a first-round pick? Johnny Unitas.
Oh yeah.
Now, he started the Super Bowl but got injured in the first quarter, and Earl Morrall, who was the first-round pick, did take over for him and won the game. It was one of the most boring Super Bowls ever, Super Bowl 5. That's some trivia for you. Hey, man, I love it. You give me NFL trivia. I love it all day.
So before we move on,
going to a little throwback on things with the Ravens game. As soon as Mark Andrews dropped that, you can Google this after we're done. First thing that popped in my head was Super Bowl. I think it was Super Bowl 9 when Jackie Smith dropped the touchdown in the end zone that would have tied the game against the Steelers. The announcer with the one of the more iconic, God bless him, he's got to be the sickest man in America. I mean, that's kind of how I felt when I saw Mark Andrews drop that ball. And For what it's worth, though, I did this on Twitter, and I actually got a lot of tweets about it. I was amazed that people replied to it, including one person just told me to fuck off. But you want to yell at Lamar about this game, and the turnovers were bad. You want to yell at Mark Andrews for the turnover and the drop? That's fine. You should in the moment. But if there's somebody to blame for this game on me, and I hate to say it because I love him as coach, that's John Harbaugh. The fact they went for 2.
Why'd you switch up on the game? Like, why did Derrick Henry only rush the ball 16 times?
Well, not just that, but the fact they went for 2 when it was 21-19 in a game where it's close, points are just at a value, and you're chasing points with 2 minutes left in the third quarter.
Jackie Smith dropped the ball in Super Bowl 13.
13, thank you. Okay. It was in Miami, I think. Steelers were up 21, ended up being 21-17 instead of 21-all. They had to settle for a field goal. Yeah, if you kick the extra point right there, guess what? You're kicking an extra point. We're going over. I don't know if we're all overtime because the Bills have a minute and change left to do something. But the fact they went for 2 there, I just don't know why it's not getting more ridiculed for. It should be. I thought it was a stupid decision, and it turned out to be what really bit them the most in the butt, I think, in the end. You do that, guess what? You're kicking an extra point with Justin Tucker, who I would put my life on the line kicking an extra point, instead of even over Mark Andrews catching the pass that he obviously dropped.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I've got the Chiefs beating the Bills and then going on to repeat the outcome from the 2023 Super Bowl and beat your Eagles, Trevor. I'm sorry. That's my prediction. I shouldn't predict that far. That's act like I didn't say that. I shouldn't be predicting that far when we'll be on air before that happens. But
hey, now remember, Josh Allen's 0-3 versus the Chiefs.
He is.
There's no way a franchise like the Bills could go 0-4 in big games.
Mahomes begs to differ.
Yeah, get a rim shot there. They lost 4 straight Super Bowls, dude. Come on, that's like a football dad joke right there.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know the Bills lost 4 straight Super Bowls?
I knew they lost multiple. I didn't realize it was 4 straight.
4 straight, yeah.
Abelson, actually, no. Me and Abelson I've heard Abelson talk about that, but I didn't realize it was. I didn't remember that fact. No.
To this day, I still say if Scott Norwood's kick doesn't go wide right and they win that game against the Giants, which was the Jeff Hostetler game, then I don't know. I think they don't lose off. I don't know if they beat the Cowboys, but I would say they maybe give the Redskins a better game in that second Super Bowl in Minneapolis. That was the Mark Ripken Super Bowl, who was, by the way, not a first-round pick either. I want to say he was like 6th round or something, maybe 7th round. He was late out of Washington.
So you think the Bills are going to win?
No, I don't. I think the Chiefs. I kind of want it to be Chiefs. I think the Chiefs will win, and I think the Eagles will win, and I think we get a rematch. And I think this time Jason comes out of retirement, and Eagles come on the field and they win. And Taylor Swift is so mad she breaks up with Travis right there at the game, and she starts dating Jason and his wife Kylie, and they make a video and they put it online, and I buy it, and everyone lives happily ever after.
Okay, all right. I like that. I'm not mad at that at all. Trevor, Louisville 81, Virginia 67, 8-game win streak. Brain Smith, 19 points, 4 from 11 from the 3-point line, 7 for 7 from the free throw line. Tell me, how are you feeling? These Cards, you called it. They're going to continue to roll. They rolled right over them again. The Virginia Cavaliers, that is, in the KFC Yum Center this past Saturday.
Not as positive as you are about it. I thought they rolled over a team they should have rolled. I think there was moments where they definitely took the foot off the gas, and
a little bit, yeah.
I thought Louisville did not play as well defensively as they have played in the last 5 games, particularly. They played well enough. I think
who didn't play well defensively?
Hold on, Waterman not playing with, which I was okay with. Roos having to get 17 minutes out there, and I loved Roos. I've said this before on here. He had trouble with the back doors on Virginia, who's a smart team. Kind of
Roos does struggle off ball still. Roos off ball defense is still kind of questionable.
And you saw, and Virginia's a bad matchup for that, and you saw them taking advantage of that on multiple times. Now, in the same with Scott, there was a few moments where he kind of went back to his old self defensively, and Virginia got some easier baskets. They shot almost 50%. I mean, the defense for Louisville was good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it was bad.
Chucky Hepburn and Terrence Edwards in my head were just really good defensively still. So,
but I just there was moments where, and I guess maybe it's the fact that when they had those maybe moments against Syracuse and some of those teams in the previous 5 games didn't really take advantage of it. Virginia did. They showed a little more heart, and when Louisville kind of got lackadaisical defensively, they took advantage of it, and you saw that where they cut it and ended up covering in the back door because the line closed at 15. So, I mean, it was still a good win at home. I think the one at Virginia was more impressive, but in which I'm glad because I'd rather have more impressive win on the road than at home in any situation.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, defensively, I thought there was some times where I think I think Roosh was just kind of a weird situation. I thought the the 3-name guy, I'm gonna remember it eventually. I swear to God. Follow him on Twitter now, and I should remember his name.
Frank Anselm eBay.
Came in, did nice good 6 minutes stretch, but it's a defense. But on offense, I thought, and it sounds crazy, I thought Edwards could have done a lot more. I know he scored 16 points, but he just seemed
he missed a lot of threes, and I think if he would have just made a few of those 3-pointers, you would feel a little differently about that.
Maybe I'm being hard on him because I've been so much impressed with the way they performed in the games previous to this. And this wasn't a bad performance, don't get me wrong. I just felt like this wasn't an A performance like we saw against Syracuse and some other games before it, against teams that are on the same level, like Syracuse is with Virginia.
Yeah.
Terrence I thought he could have put up 30 in this game. I think they had no way to match up with him. He got a little passive because of it. And that's fine. And obviously Chucky struggled shooting the ball. That was the only bad part of his game. He had 8 assists, he had 1 turnover, he had 4 steals. He was all up in their grill defensively. He just could not. I know there's supposedly maybe some back issues that could be affecting it, but that's going to happen with him. And rain's just rain. James Scott was very effective offensively, better maybe offensively than defensively in this game, which is not saying a lot, but. Sure that, I mean, Traore's been, a great boost off the bench. I mean, the guy comes in there and I don't think has really told him yet. He's only 6'4". I mean, he thinks he's 7'1", and Patrick Ewing out there, and I love it. So, and which is going to come in really handy in this game tomorrow night because I'll tell you right now, I'm worried. I'm worried about this SMU game. I'm worried about them going on the road against the way we match up against this team, and I'm worried because I'm a big fan of Eddie Enfield. I think he should have been IU's higher instead of Mike Woodson. I think he will be hired after this year, maybe to replace Mike Woodson, possibly. It'd be a good move for IU, and I think it'd be a good move for him. And it's going to be a tough match. It's like the West Virginia and Oklahoma game. These are 2 teams. This is a team that plays very similar to us. They want to play up and down. They want to play fast. They want to score. I know they don't play as good defensively as we do, but they don't try probably as much as we do. And size-wise, they can give us fits. They've got. And I'm transitioning from one game to another without a segue, kind of. But they're they got the big kid from Turkey who can match up. They've got the Traore themselves from France, who's a big kid. It's not not physical, but still 6'10". And they've got a 3-guard rotation, including a white kid that you may remember, and a lot of little fans remember, named Matt Cross. They can stretch the defense, and it's gonna be a tough matchup, man. I'm worried about this game. These next 2 games for Louisville are going to be huge for us in terms of where we finish in the seeding in terms of ACC, because these are the 2 ones that I know we both agree on. Notre Dame and later in February on the road, who, by the way, God pooped the bed at Syracuse. But these 2 games coming up at home with a week between them, on the road at SMU tomorrow, and then next Tuesday with Wake Forest at home are the 2 games that I have my confidence the least to most confident.
I'm still feeling confident in our matchup against these 2 teams. And just the way that Louisville's defending right now compared to the way that those 2 teams are defending right now. But you're right, Trevor. This is they're a form. They play a very, very similar brand of basketball that we do. They like to get up and down if they can. They like to get a lot of threes up between those 3 guards lineup that they've got. They have a 7-footer too. He's not even. I don't think he's even a better rebounder than the guy that's a little bit smaller than him. The guy that's a little bit smaller than him is a much more aggressive rebounder, it seems. But they've got 2 big bodies out there that get up and down the floor fast as well. So it's one of those teams that matches up well. There's a reason that the line's 156.5. And it's a even basically pick 'em situation, 1.5 point favorite SMU right now. I have a feeling that'll change. have a weird feeling Louisville goes into this game as a 1.5 point favorite, but top 25, Trevor. Louisville's top 25 for the first time in 4 years. How does that feel?
Well deserved, and this team deserves it. And they it's like I said, it's I like to stay there. You mentioned, you're talking about that 3-guard rotation, that matchup you're talking about. The Chuck Harris kid's the one you really got, the senior.
Yeah,
he went to Gonzaga. I think he's from Gonzaga or something. I want to say. I think he started there and bounced around. But him and they've got the young kid. They start a more traditional lineup. It's going to probably give us fits early. I'd be interested to see if Waterman's playing or not. We could really use him in this game, but we were able to get off, let him have maybe a day to rest with Virginia, but we could maybe use him and his body in this game because they start the big kid from Turkey and they start, like you mentioned, Troy, the 16 kid out of France, but after that, then they start cross at the small, and then they're very similar to what we do, but a lot like what we do with our original starting lineup. And then what they do is more often than not, when you see the minutes and watch them play, they go small, and you see cross, and they play that 4. And you see them use, either the Turkey kid or Ramon. They bring kids like the Edwards kid off the bench.
Yeah.
Miller, and they run a 3-guard rotation for the most part. Outside those the guys I've named multiple times, everyone else other than Matt Cross is 6'4" and under. So very kind of like what we do. Hopefully the game – what worries me about this game is Hadley. He has struggled when he gets he's guarded by guys that are bigger than him. He has trouble getting a shot off. We saw it in the Florida State game, for example. It was a big matchup that worries me about this. I'm hoping we can get him with Matt Cross, get in Cross's skin. We know he can be a hot-tempered kid. Hopefully maybe get in his head and get Hadley in that matchup more often than getting him on with the Troy kid or even, God forbid, the kid from Turkey, which I'm not even going to try to say his name. But, yeah, that's where I'm worried. Chucky, because this game, when Chucky plays offensively like he did, shooting the ball, I mean, we're not leaving Dallas with a win. I don't think. I mean, we would have to. We're going to need him to. I'm not saying he has to go out and play like he did against Syracuse offensively, but be more at least consistently. It'd be hitting the shots. He's got to be more. A few more shots if he's going to take that many. Edwards has got to be aggressive. I mean, they can score. I mean, this team just dropped 117 on Miami.
Yeah, you're right. Miami's god awful, but
fire. But I mean, they still scored 117 points on him. They scored.
You're right. That's a lot of points. That's a lot of points. Here's the thing. I'll agree with you that Chucky can't have the kind of offensive performance that he just had, or scoring performance that he just had, and us still have a chance to really put points on the board against the SMU team that you got to put points up on the board against. I do think, though, you're not at this point, Trevor, with what I've seen in this 8-game win streak, somebody can go off. And if you get it doesn't have to be Chucky. Chucky can go for 10 points as long as we've got somebody, shooting the ball well, extremely well, scoring in that 18-plus range, and we've got somebody else in that 14, 15-plus range, and then James Scott giving you his 10 or 12, right?
You're right. I mean, really, the only consistent – I mean, I don't want to say he's the only consistent player, but the main consistency in our entire run – offensively game to game, with the exception of the Clemson game, is Rain Smith. I mean, he's the one that's you can almost guarantee he's going to get you double digits because he's going to hit at least 4 threes.
Yeah.
The Clemson game is the only one I think he didn't. He may have scored double figures, but he was awful shooting the ball in that game, which everyone was except for, Hadley. Or Huntley.
We're going to need a big game from somebody. Ideally, we get Chucky Hepburn back scoring the ball and shooting the ball well. Terrence Edwards, you're also right, though. He has to shoot the ball better. He has to shoot the ball much better. He's been attacking the basket at the rate that we need him to, but when the jump shot he's getting good shots usually, but they're not dropping right now. So he's got to get back on track with his jumper, and he got to continue to. When he has a matchup and it's proven that they're not being able to slow him down, we can't have him start being passive. Like you said, he's got to continue to attack the basket and get open off the ball for his jumper. So
one good thing to do against this team, and that's good, but I know with this Indianapolis team traditionally that you take maybe kind of more lean towards this might be outdated for you, but the LMU days of, wanting to just score, and don't play defense, just get up down the court. They do play, this team, they've got 4 guys that average over a steal a game, including one of their backup guards that comes off the bench, and Edwards is averaging 2.5 a game. So they will hit the gaps. They will get.
He started against Miami.
Yeah. So they will do some things like that. But the one key thing to this team, when you especially look at their stats and their 4 losses, which was I think UNC, Duke, Mississippi State, and I forget who the 4th one was, which was a good team. They don't have any bad losses. They have 4 good losses. They're kind of again, very similar to Louisville in that way as well. Is that especially in the games where they struggle, is when they do have to are forced more to go one-on-one. This team does do a great job of passing the ball. They've got multiple games where they're 20, 25 assists. I think they had a 30 assist game at one point. I mean, that's the team that's going to share the ball. It's going to cut. That's going to go back to where I talk about our bigs, because we switch on everything so much and play so much high up on pressure on the defense that we've got to watch those back cuts. And they're going to do that to you left and right, and they do it very well. That's where Scott. That's where I'm hoping Waterman can get a little more minutes in this game.
They screen well too. They're big screen well too. Yeah. Matt Cross, he screens, he slip screens, he pops.
I don't need Waterman to be an offensive threat in this game, and I understand if he can't, but we probably maybe need him a little bit more defensively with his size and his hustle than what Roos could offer, especially going on the road, asking from a true freshman. I mean, and again, I love Roos. He's going to be a great player. I hope he stays here and develops, but I mean, he's a freshman. Like I said, this is the guy he's learning to be a basketball player. And I'm glad that we're getting to see that, because we wouldn't even see any of him if it weren't for Pryor getting hurt. I mean, he would step in the court. So I'm glad it's the silver lining in the losing of Pryor. But I don't know if this would be a good matchup for him.
We'll have to just see. I think if it's a game where we're getting in transition, he'll have a size advantage with they're running a 30-guard lineup. He might have some mismatches out there and just chances to score, but.
He would be going against Cross, who's 6'7", just an inch shorter, and or
at that point you want Hadley or Waterman out there defensively, because Cross doesn't move very fast. So if Cross is going to play down on the post, you need Waterman. If Cross is going to try to lurk out there on the perimeter the whole game, I don't mind Kanai being on him, really, because then he's got the longer wingspan for the contested jumper. So it just depends on how they're going to play it. If he's going to be if they're going to try to utilize him on the block and try to get him going down low, we'll just have to see. But they do also pick up the pace sometimes. So,
well, I mean, it's going to be a fun game. Look back at the West Virginia. I mean, it's sad to say, because it sucks, because you go back and think about those two teams who play similar to Louisville and how SMU does as well. And I think their guards are better. Because SMU guards, I mean, the Miller kid's good. He's only a sophomore too, but we had Pryor in those games. I mean, for the most part, like 30. All but until the end of the Oklahoma game. So I mean, we don't know how we can maybe match up with what we have now currently with that's the same, seeing our similar style like we did in those two examples. That makes sense. I hope Waterman can play, but maybe if not, maybe Seth can play.
Wouldn't mind Seth getting out there, or Ben. Ben Waterman's got bunnies. I don't know if you saw, but yeah. Trevor, I'm still feeling confident, though. The way Pat Kelsey's got this team playing, doing the small little things, we're screening well, we're communicating extremely well. We do have our lapses off ball defensively sometimes with teams that are moving a lot off the ball and doing some things backdoor.
You're up by 20 points. That happens.
Exactly. So I'm not going to complain as long as it's not happening at the beginning of games. We're all good. But we seem to be alert. Pat Kelsey's timeouts when things seem like they maybe are about to go awry, or one thing doesn't go as planned, or we don't get the shot selection we want on a couple possessions, and the team scores on one of those turnarounds, he calls a timeout and he changes some things, and he gets it out of timeout play that he likes, or they adjust something defensively, or they get the substitute in that they need in. But and I really like that. That's one of those things that I get watching over the last 2 years. It was abnormally bad to a degree that is not even comparable to what should be normal in basketball, but it still made you irk your nerves watching us be down 2 and go down 4 and be down 2 and kind of stay in the game. And all of a sudden we're down 6, down 8, and there's no timeout. That shit used to drive me up my, whatever. Seeing a coach whose coaching staff is assertive about changing things when they need to be changed is just lovely. But I also think, not to say that it's just good to see that it's something being done well that should be always being done. I do think we're kind of, Pat Kelsey and his coaching staff, they're kind of elite at adjusting on the fly. I get that's something Mike said today, but it's something I've been feeling for the last few games. The way they adjust, like the way I'll go into a game in the first couple of possessions, usually I'm like, okay, yeah, I was right about my confidence level. And then they adjust, they figure out the matchups and figure out how they want to attack who. And I'm like, wow, I should have been way more confident. We were way more physical than this team than I thought they would be. We are completely not letting this guy do anything I thought he was going to be able to do. Why was I only a 7.5 out of 10 confidence level? Phil, we are a 1.5 point underdog at the moment. It is even. They're minus 110. I think no. SMU's minus 120. If you want to bet them, we're minus 110. Still kind of a situation, or plus 100. maybe even still. I don't think. Yeah, we're even, so we're minus 110. But
I wouldn't touch this game.
I like the 156 and a half. 156 and a half is a weird over under. I do think that I like the over under at 156 and a half. I think
if you're taking the over though, you're almost saying that you think SMU has a better chance of winning. This game is hitting over 160. There's a better chance. That means SMU. That means there's probably a good chance SMU's.
That means we're not defending well. You're right.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, the Louisville ones. If you're confident Louisville's going to win this game, you obviously take Louisville getting points if you're going to get points, or even giving 1.5. And I would take the under.
I just think it's going to be like a 80 to 77, maybe right around the you know what I mean, kind of a victory. I think that both teams will score a lot, but they're, if you just prevent runs, it's just both. I think SMU is going to make us play a little bit faster, than we want. That home crowd, and it might only be for a half of basketball, but I'm worried about the pace of play for this game.
Well, and Louisville likes to play fast paced too, though. I mean,
we've slowed down though in this win streak. We've slowed down a lot.
We can. But
not a lot.
Traditionally, Pat wants to play up and down. I mean,
exactly. It's a lot more up and down versus just go like it was in the beginning, or even after the injuries before the win streak.
I mean, offensively, we're very. I mean, us and Andy Enfield and Pat Kelsey are doing a lot. They do a lot of things similar offensively. I mean, defensively, it's just I think Pat Kelsey teams are. I want to say more focused on defense, but it also doesn't hurt. You have guys like Terrence Edwards and Chucky Hepburn out there who just are just so good defensively that it just makes you look like a better defensive coach. I mean, I'm just saying because when you look back at his college Charleston teams, I mean, they were more leaning towards what you see what SMU is doing in Andy Enfield, where they wanted to score and play a little bit of defense, but more just speed you up defensively so they can play fast-paced offense. And that's what Andy Enfield and SMU is going to do to them and want to do to them. Now they can be, again, look at the games that they either lost or even the games that they won, or particularly the Virginia game where they came back. Virginia did a good job of keeping it, grinding them down slowing the game down. Now we don't want to slow it down like that, not to Virginia's pace, but if we can make them play half-court offense and let us move into transition offense, which is what the perfect world for Pat Kelsey coaching, then, I think we'll be okay. The positive thing is this is a young team. I mean, it's outside of Harris, the guard that is probably one of their best players who played. I want to say played there last year as well. He's a senior. I mean, Miller's a sophomore. The Turkey kid's a freshman, I think, or a sophomore. The other big kid's a sophomore. I mean, their guards off the bench. Cross is a senior. He's got to be a senior by now. I mean, but outside those two, everyone else is juniors and underclassmen. So this is a younger team. I mean, which is a plus for Louisville, but it can also be, if this game is a Louisville, I'd feel more confident. I'm also liking and telling myself as a fan that some of the, I don't want to say lackadaisical performance against Virginia in certain stretches could also be this team looking forward to a team at SMU, a big game for them, which is, struggling to get big games on the schedule. And they had a Virginia team at home at noon game. They'd already blown out Virginia at Virginia. I mean, they could have come in and played a lot more spacey, but they didn't. They just waited until they had the lead and then kind of did it. But that's why I'm chalking it up to is I'm looking forward to SMU on tomorrow night, which it's a 9:00 game. I'm scared, Roman. I'm a little scared. I'll be honest with you. Confidence level right now, 6.5 maybe. 6.5.
I'm like a 7.5. If I'm being honest, I know I made the joke earlier about that, but going on the road against one of the teams in the SEC that's proven it can actually, score and operate and defend when it wants to.
I jokingly said this game, Ohio State and Notre Dame reminded me of the IU game, and I think this is the exact same score the IU to Osaka game was, 31-15. Wasn't that what they beat? I think that's what they beat IU by. No.
Wasn't it like 38? Didn't they have –
Was it 38-15? IU scored 15, I know that. So they scored 8 in the fourth. They scored 7 to open the game. They scored 8 to end the game. And that was it. I have to double check. Your internet might be faster than mine. Whose internet is faster? Dun, dun, dun. 38-15. You're right. They do score one more time. But for the record, there's 8 minutes to go, and IU's got the balls. I mean, Ohio State's got the balls. So
yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, and they just QB run for a first down. Yeah, so they're going to probably go down and score.
This game's going to end up 38-15, just like the IU game. And it's played out the exact same way to a degree.
Trevor,
what you got for me?
I'm feeling good about Louisville, just where we are as a basketball program. I don't really have anything I want to get in about the football team right now. I mean, 21 transfer portal recruits at the moment. We're bringing some freshman guys in, some freshman recruits in as well. Nothing too splashy yet. Still need to bring in a couple guys defensively, and
I
think key positions. I think
one thing did surprise me, and it's not that. And that's a weird surprise, but I saw Harrison Bailey is leaving again, now going to Florida, and that surprised me in the way that, like,
I was going to bring that up too.
How the fuck is he going to play at Florida? I mean, he couldn't get off the field at all. Louisville, no offense.
I think they think the Lagway kid's injury prone. I think that's my conspiracy here.
I think Harrison Bailey thought, you know what? I got one more year to live it up as a college kid. What better way to do it than in Florida as a football player? I'm never
making $400,000, $500,000 or something.
Throwing in more blonde white girls than Fox News. I mean, he's gonna have a ball.
Maybe that's too much. Maybe he's not making that much. I don't know. But
trust me, he'll get paid in other ways. Kind of like a radio job, We don't make cash. We get to go to games for free, type of shit.
Yeah, I get it. At the end of the day, you're gonna do what you think's best for you. I guess maybe you're thinking that the Lagway kid you're gonna maybe have a chance to get out there. I don't know, but
he's never gonna play. He's going for the vagina.
Maybe he is. Maybe I'm sure it's because he got offered more money. He got offered more money than we offered him. So
I don't even think Florida's even giving him money. They're probably just being like, "Listen, we'll just give you a spot, dude." I mean, what the hell? Again, if you're Harrison Bailey, you got one more year to do this. I feel like I'm Dwight Yoakam in Friday Night Lights. You got 1 year, buddy, to make memories. Okay, you got 1 year to live it up, to give you things to look back at when you're 44 in your converted garage to a den with no air conditioning and no heat, and doing a podcast on YouTube at 10 o'clock, watching Ohio State destroy Notre Dame. You got 1 year to make the memories to think back about that while you're depressed living that life.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see what his plan is. He's married.
Is he really?
Yeah. As of September of last year.
Who gets married in college? Who gets married before they're 30? What an idiot.
And he got married in Georgia, so maybe it's closer to home or something. I don't know. I don't know where he's from. I should. I don't.
Well, I don't know why he's going then.
Yeah.
Maybe she's got family there. Who gets married while they're in college playing football? What an idiot. Only couldn't read a defense.
All right, Trev. Is there anything else you want to get out to the crowd here?
I'll tell Phil right now, don't ask me over-unders. I have a better chance of sniffing Megan Fox's butthole tonight than giving the right over-under on any game I ever pick. I am horrible at them. I never touch them. So, yeah, I would – I'm
going. I guess I'm going to stay away from the over under. I don't. It's tough. I'm going to stay away from it. I'm gonna probably take a live line on it potentially if it skyrockets real fast or if it diminishes quickly from good defense at the beginning of the game. We'll just have to see. But
I'm not taking. I don't want to bet the game. If you're going to make me, I will take the Cards -1.5. I think they should win. It just scares me. And by the way, PK, when I see Shively and Dabs in the same sentence, we're thinking two different things, Phil. Especially when your name has a Bible verse on it.
All right, everybody. All right, Trevor.
Fox comment.
We'll be back here in the next couple of days or so. Maybe post game after the show tomorrow. Or after the game tomorrow. We'll just have to see how the game and how the night goes. Stones, what's up? Thanks for joining in and sending comments. Phil, thanks for your comments as always. Fellas, we appreciate you guys always watching. Like, subscribe, comment down below. If you have any topics you want to bring up, this is the Real Spiel podcast. It does not always have to be sports. We will bring up anything and discuss absolutely anything. That's why we're on YouTube. But obviously it is cards based. Wow. Trev?
I've got a Brian Dawkins t-shirt on, but okay.
Trev? Shout out to your Eagles. Shout out to you. I'll talk to you here soon. That's going to